Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and welcome to another episode of Living the Wiccan Life. In this episode, we bring you more interviews from Pantheia, including Orion Foxwood, author of the Faery Teachings, Leo Flamehand of Young Tree Grove, and the great Margot Adler, whose book Drawing Down the Moon completely changed the way our community looks at itself. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and we are here at Pantheia with Leo Flamehand. Hello, Leo.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And Leo is involved with the Young Tree Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And would you like to explain what that is?
Yes, Young Tree Pagan Educational Grove is basically our answer for teens in the community. Anybody who is new. I live in East Tennessee, and the pagan teen population doesn't really have any resources. Even nationally, there aren't really many groups that are dedicated to teens and their families and giving them a general, unbiased pagan education. So Young Tree Grove actually provides events where we're offering seminars and basically a resource for the pagan teens in the community, and where the elders and teens can come together in a legally safe environment. All the information is unbiased and not directed at any one specific tradition, and basically it's also meant to give a general overall view instead of any specifics. So they have a solid solid foundation for study.
So whatever background they come from, they will be welcome and not feel like they're being converted to another one, for want of a better way to put it.
We, in our mission statement, it strictly says that we don't push our beliefs on others, and that is a big part. Pagans, Christians, Jewish people, anybody of any religion can come. We're just wanting to educate people about the truths behind paganism and help them get started on their own spiritual journey. As well as help the teens, of course. So you don't have to be a pagan to be a part of Young Tree Grove or its events.
Speaking of its events, I believe you have some events.
Yes. As of this time, we only have one. That is planned for July 7th through the 11th in East Tennessee, and that is Young Tree Camp 2008. It is, as we said, it's a foundations event. Pagan teens and their families are welcome to come for the 5 days of the event. We'll have Oberon Zell Ravenheart, several special speakers and entertainers, and they will get a Foundations Paganism course. All of it's laid out in course fashion. We will have special field trips. We have a scientific paranormal hunt that we're planning on doing, and just all kinds of neat things to really get them interested. We'll have life skills workshops. It's really the first event catered towards teens, towards getting teens the true education that they need to begin a pagan path of any sort.
That sounds very important. One of the things that I have noticed, there's an old joke, what does a pagan teenager do to rebel against their pagan family? They go out and become a radical Christian or something. What I've found is that that's not true at all. They become agnostic. And so they go from having more gods than anyone to
having no gods.
So I'm personally very happy to see things being done to address the younger generation.
Teens in general, they have the ability to make a religious, faith-based decision. In the U.S., inmates in prison have twice as many rights as pagan teens do, or teens in general. They need religious rights, or they at least need some sort of basis for religious study. And we really, really work to provide that. And we're not trying to convert the teens, which I think the parents are really going to especially love. We are not indoctrinating them into any specific religion. So it is, like I said, it's something that's never been done before. And every person I talk to talks about the need of something for teens in the community. It's like, hello, I'm here.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, if someone wanted to sign up for this or to find out more about it, where would they go?
You can go to youngtreegrove.org, spelled exactly how it sounds. We have registration information, everything about the event. We're working on adding our workshop and speakers. It's updated usually a couple of times a month, depending on our budget. So all they have to do is visit the website, and they can find out everything they need to know, or they can email me personally at leoflamehand@youngtreegrove.org. So that's pretty much how they found out about our event.
Very good. Is there anything else you would like to mention while we're here?
Yeah, I would like to say basically that if you have a pagan teen, really try and get them to an event like Young Tree Camp, or contact us and see how you can get something going in your local area. You don't have to be under the Young Tree name, but we really need to get things going for the teens in the community. So if anybody at all is just interested in getting the next generation of pagans started, or just a generation of teens that are more enlightened spiritually and in society and want to make a difference, get in contact with us and let's work together to make the next generation one of the better ones we've seen yet.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor.
It's a great pleasure.
Hey. So look that way?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the camera.
Okay.
Look, do whatever feels natural.
Oh, well, let me take my
But,
clothes off. That's a little too natural.
Well, it's online, so we don't have to worry about the ratings, but it might not quite be for our audience.
Right, exactly.
Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and we're here with Orion Foxwood. Hello.
Hi, it's good to be here.
And we're at PantheiaCon, and you were just saying that it's been a very busy day for you. And
Yes.
how are you enjoying the event?
Well, I'm loving it. I mean, I love coming here because I get a chance to connect with so many people I love and who love the work, and people on serious spiritual development, serious spiritual paths. So it's been good. It's been good. A lot of sharing. Yeah.
Very good. How long have you been coming to PantheiaCon?
It's my third one. Yeah, so not that many years, really. Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
We were just talking before we started the camera about your background. And you come from a very diverse background, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you care to share some of that with our viewers?
Absolutely. Really, I come from three streams of magical tradition. One I was born into, which is Southern Appalachian conjure stuff. With that, I was born just outside of Winchester, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley, where there's a mixture of Southern folk tradition, which is really slave magic, that meets old Celtic Appalachian tradition that comes down from the mountains down through Roanoke and down into the valley. So there's that. And some of that has some of the fairy seership, the fairy work that I do in it, but then I met other elders on the other side of the pond, studied with them, and that's what I write about primarily. And then thirdly, I was initiated into an old traditional witchcraft line. My queen mother, Lady Circe in Toledo, she transitioned, she passed a few years ago, and one of her mantle carriers carrying her work forward. So those are the three streams, yeah.
Would you care to talk about a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. And in terms of my everyday work, or
anything you'd like to talk about?
Sure.
Because really, when we do these interviews, we it's partly to inform our people of just whatever they can see of events and people, but also to help people to promote what they would like to promote.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, on one end, I write books. So I've written a book called The Faery Teachings, published by R.J. Stewart Books. And RJ and I did a collective CD with a compilation of some of the traditional visions of fairy seership. He did original music for it, and I did the vocals for that. Not singing, no, but guided visionary processes.
Okay.
We're working on a monograph also for something called the Vision Keys, which were a series of inner contacts put to images, artful images for meditation and inner work. And then Wiser Publications, I came on, Wiser Canary Press, has contracted me to write a book called The Tree of Enchantment, which is further on the fairy seership work, and they will release that in August. So there's that I do, but I also run a coven, which I founded in the late 80s, called Foxwood Temple. And then, as a part of my commitment to my Queen Mother, spent time, Lady Circe is my Queen Mother, collecting her oral tradition, because she came from a very old family tradition, and getting that down. And as part of that, myself, along with the two other mantle carriers for her, developed something called the Alliance of the Old Religion, to bring all the covens in the line together, preserve the lineage, the heritage, and so I'm doing that as well.
I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I'd like to commend you for your loyalty to that line, because it seems to me sometimes that people forget their roots and their background.
Oh, I can't imagine it. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't have imagined it at one time either, but I've seen a lot of it.
Well, my
so
elder
I think that's
really,
wonderful.
She really was the goddess on earth for me, and I honor her by carrying her work, and hopefully living in her way, because she was so very wise and so very blessed. So we're working very hard as a lineage to preserve her ways, and I'm sort of the archivist of the line, maintaining as much of her oral tradition and the photographs and the letters and all of that.
That's wonderful.
So it's going well. Yeah, thank you.
I cannot say too often how much I think that's important, because I think that as a community, we've lost a lot of our roots by forgetting these things.
And our elders are dying.
Yes, they are, quickly in some cases.
And we're called to task to step up to that same role, absolutely.
And I mean, the future is built on the younger people being willing to carry it forward.
Yep. Now that's just the craft. Fairy seership practices are almost dead in America. There's a few pockets of it in Appalachia and some other places around the country, but not a lot of it left. So I'm writing on that. I've been encouraged by other authors. The author community has been incredibly supportive and incredibly mentoring. I'm very grateful. Yeah, thank you.
I'll be very interested in reading some of that. I'd have to say I haven't yet, but I think that sounds very fascinating.
But it's potent work, and a lot of it's also steeped in ancestral magic, which is often overlooked in the modern pagan movement.
Yes, it is.
And is yet the hallmark of older traditions. That you cannot get to the spirit world, you cannot get to the fair folk, to the gods and goddesses, but through the ancestors. So I'm doing a lot of work with that.
Let me ask you then, in terms of the future of our community, what do you think is most important?
Well, I mean, there's this concept, I can't remember the person who evolved the model, about how groups come together, norming, storming, performing, adjourning. I think we're moving from storming, meaning who are we, where are we from, where are our roots, to now norming. We're starting to get down to some ritual patterns, we're getting down to some cultural patterns. I think the culture is coming into some cohesion. I think the next step now is about preserving our elders' teachings, so that we don't lose our heritage. Getting out of a competitive stance with each other, which is common in minority groups, and we're a minority group.
Well, that's true.
And moving more into, I guess, more into sharing. I think it's important to have some of the mainstream recognition as a religion. I think corporations, churches, and having church status is very important. And we need to start claiming our power because we vote and we pay taxes. So
we're in election year.
Exactly. I'll be happy when we're a bit more of a radar bleep in the political scene, when people take us seriously as they do the gay community now. And the gay community's done really well about that, and I think we can
learn a lot from the gay community in terms of organization.
Absolutely.
If people want to learn more about what you do, or perhaps even contact you, how would they do that?
They could go to l.orion@foxwood-temple.net. I guess that's the letter l.orion@foxwood-temple.net. That's just my email, and if they want to inquire, and I can send folks information on what we're doing, because I tour a lot, and I lecture a lot, and I have these apprenticeship programs I do around the country in the fairy seership stuff.
Would you like to speak to perhaps anywhere you'll be appearing in the future?
Well, absolutely. I'm going from here, actually, with Susan Diamond to Santa Cruz to the Serpent's Kiss, and doing an introductory day workshop into fairy seership practices. Very excited. Gets me nearer to those redwoods. Which makes me really happy and really centered. And then from there I go back and I'm doing some stuff in Tampa, Florida, and then I'll be doing some stuff in May in the New England area. So I'm on the road quite a bit.
Wonderful.
So, thank you.
Well, if you would like to contact Orion and perhaps learn some of his wisdom, email him at
l.orion.foxwood-temple.net.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that gives you what you want.
Oh, that was perfect.
Great. Thank you. Look at that ring.
Thank you.
I'm like a crow.
I hope that you enjoyed part 1 of our interview and that you'll join us again for part 2 and our interview with the great Margot Adler, author of Drawing Down the Moon. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and I'm very pleased to announce the publication in paperback of Witch School's Lessons for the First Degree. Available now for pre-order from witchschool.com and coming soon to a bookstore near you, together with lessons for the second degree and lessons for the third degree.